Think you need millions to invest in real estate? Think again. If I were to tell you there's a way you can invest in real estate with as little as 5,000 shillings, would you believe me? It sounds impossible, right? Well, not with real estate investment trusts. So whether you're a student, whether you're working, earning a steady income, job hunting, wherever life is for you right now, as long as you're earning 5,000 shillings and above, you could be owning shares of some of the biggest comprehensive developments in this country, malls, multi-dwellings and flats, with just as little as 5,000 bob. Hi everyone, welcome to Realty With T. Today we are going through an ultimate REITs masterclass built just for you.
Don't stop. Don't stop. Don't stop. Don't stop.
So, what is a real estate investment trust? It's a company that owns, operates, or finances income generating assets in real estate. What does this mean? So a REIT is a trust, okay? They manage the selling or buying of shares in real estate because that's what real estate investment trusts are. What you are doing basically is buying shares into real estate. There are two types of REITs. There's income rates and there's development rates. So if you hear I rates and D rates, that's what they mean. So income rates are when you buy shares in property that's already existing or a development that's already existing, and you get money from the rent that will be collected from this building, or what they call dividends. So you'll get dividends as a shareholder. And for development rights, when money is pulled together, it goes towards the development or construction of a building, and you as an investor or a shareholder, you make money when the property is either sold or leased. If you want to start investing in real estate investment trusts, where do I start? You first start by opening a CDS account. You have to do that either through a broker or through the Nairobi Stock Exchange platform. You have to put money into your account. You have to choose which real estate investment trust you want to get into. Can be Vuka, can be Fahari, depending also on the amount of money that you want to invest in. They each have different limits. They each have a different minimum amount that you can put into them. Is it safe? How easily can I liquefy my assets? If I wanted to withdraw my money now, what's the process? How fast can I get it? When I buy shares, do I own land? Do I own this property? Do I own these malls? There's so many questions, but here to help me answer them and demystify this for you is Ruth Okal, a well-known expert in the industry. She's been doing this for almost 20 years now, so she's very capable and very knowledgeable, and she's here to share these insights with you. And also joining us today is Elvis Onchwari, a direct representative of Vuka REITs. If you know what that is, this is your chance to own shares in Qwetu and Qejani. So if you want to know how you can own shares in Qwetu and Qejani, or you want to know how you can invest in real estate with only 5,000 Kenya shillings, stay tuned till the end. With me today is the expert herself. Her name is Ruth Okal. With almost 20 years in the industry, a master's in property management and valuation, she is a registered valuer, registered agent. I mean, her experience speaks for herself. And if you know real estate investment trusts, you know Ruth Okal. So, hi, how are you?
Hi, Tinka.
You been well?
Very well, thank you.
So, if you don't mind, could you tell us a little bit about yourself and your background, especially real estate investment trusts?
Okay. First of all, thank you for having me in this session. So, as you've heard, my name is Ruth Okal. I'm a real estate expert, but my journey with REIT started in 2013, which is about more than 10 years by now. It's something I liked doing from an academic perspective, but then I stumbled into an opportunity that came in when the REIT regulations were brought in Kenya, and I took that opportunity. And since that day, I have been working in REIT environment to date. I love it. I am passionate about it, and it's something that I look forward to its growth in Kenya.
How has the real estate investment trust uptake been in the country?
So it's been a long journey, and I can say that REITs have clocked 10 years this year, because the first REIT was established in 2015, which I was honored to be part of the team that established the REIT. So the uptake has been slowly but surely. It's been increasing. We started with one REIT, and now we have 4 REITs in Kenya, with a beginning assets under management of about 3.6 billion shillings. We are now looking at over 30 billion shillings. So that has been a tremendous growth. And we've also seen the number of unit holders or investors that invest in the REIT have increased over that period. So we are seeing a bright future for the REITs, and it's something we encourage investors to keep looking at.
How does REITs work, if you were to be asked generally?
So it's a simple. So in real estate, you can either invest as a direct investment, which means you take your money and buy real estate directly. And that is what most of us are used to, which is you buy like an apartment or a plot of land. But for REITs, it's slightly different in that you take money from different investors. We pull that money together in a fund, and we use that fund to buy real estate, which then is professionally managed. And then the profit from that fund, which comes from rental income, is distributed to the investors. So it's really just another form of owning real estate, which is more flexible and gives you access to a pool of assets as opposed to having one asset.
I agree, and REITs to me has made real estate more affordable, more accessible, especially to young people. Who are my people? I am here to vouch for the young people, because they've been afraid of the real estate industry for so long, and this has provided a very nice entryway into the industry. And with that, I wanted to ask you, what do you think about young people investing in real estate, and do you think they should be part of this real estate investment trust package?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. It's a question I like talking about every other time. I wish someone told me this when I was 18 years old. But again, as they say, there's no perfect timing than now. So I think as a REITs, as you've rightfully said, gives us flexibility in the sense that you only need a small amount of money to be able to start investing in REITs. When I talk to young people, like university students, I tell them, if you have 1,000 shillings, you can actually go out and have fun and spend the 1,000 shillings.
Sure.
You can also put it in a REIT, and then you start earning returns, and over time you can keep on adding 1,000 shillings, 500 shillings, and grow your portfolio in real estate. So that's one of the key benefits of REIT, that it is accessible, as opposed to if you need to buy land or buy an apartment, which means you need to accumulate a lot of money and put it in one property. The other thing with REIT is, again, it gives you the flexibility. You can buy the number of units you can afford today, and tomorrow you can add more. And the following month, maybe if you need to use the money, you can sell some units and access your money. If you had a piece of land somewhere, it's very difficult to keep, cutting small pieces and selling to access. Maybe you need money for school fees or money for medical bills.
It's very hard to liquefy.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you for that. But what is the minimum amount that you can invest in real estate investment trusts?
So that depends. So maybe I just take a step back and give you, so we have different types of REITs in Kenya. So either you can have one that is restricted, which means it's restricted to a specific type of investors. For example, in Kenya now we call them professional investors. So that one requires about 100,000 shillings to start. It can go all the way to 5 million and above. Then we have what is unrestricted. Unrestricted is where everyone is allowed to invest in the REIT, and that can go as low as 1,000 shillings. You just need to have the small amount of money, especially if the REIT is listed. And listed here, I mean if it's trading in the Nairobi Securities Exchange, then the minimum number of units you need to buy is 100, which basically means if a unit is 20 shillings and you're buying 100, then you need about 2,000 shillings. So as little as 1,000, 2,000, you can be able to start your journey in investing in REITs.
You've heard this from the expert herself. You know, I tried telling young people that they can invest this 1,000, 5,000 bob. They didn't believe me. So now, mmesikia kwa gwiji mwenyewe, si ndio? What is the biggest myth that you've heard about real estate investment trust?
There are many, but the first one is that REITs are for the rich. So, and I totally understand where that is coming from, because traditionally real estate has been very expensive to access. So when people hear REIT, and then it's like a complicated word, so people think, oh, that's only meant for the rich.
Maybe we should create a more local name for REITs.
That's possible, but again, also remember we are now global citizens, so we are trying to benchmark our investments globally, so that you can invest in a REIT in Kenya, a REIT in South Africa, a REIT in the US, and you still go through a similar process, or seamless processes.
True.
So the biggest way there that a REIT is expensive, and as I've just rightfully said, that with as little as 1,000 or 2,000 shillings, you should be able to start your journey into investing in REIT. I think the other one I've had is you don't really own anything, which basically means, if you recall a long time ago, we used to buy shares and then you get a certificate, and then you could put it in a frame and hang it somewhere in your wall. So if I own shares in a company, this is the proof that I have it. But over time, the industry has gotten to a point where what you own is only put in a register. So you don't have a document, like a title deed. If you own land in Nairobi, for example, you'll get a title deed which has your name. But now for a REIT, you're in a register somewhere. So most people think that because you don't have a document that shows Ruth owns this number of shares per se, then you don't own anything. But that is not true. You own the units, and the units are mapped to your name, and you even get your statement every month, just the same way you get statement from a bank if you have money in a bank. So that is proof that you own something. So there are many myths, but I think I want to focus on those two for now.
What are some of the examples of developments that are under the REITs program, so that they can picture what is on the ground?
So REITs can invest in a lot of properties, and that is allowed by the REIT regulations. But currently in Kenya, we have 4 REITs. The biggest one is investing in student housing, and I think that resonates very well with the youth, because some of us were in school at some point or the other.
Yes.
So that's the biggest REIT. The other 2 are investing in diversified portfolios. So they're looking at office, they're looking at commercial retail, they're looking at residential property, but the law allows you to invest in anything property, as long as it is something that can make money that will be used to pay the investors.
Where do you see REITs going in future? I'm trying to make young people understand that they should start now and not wait for when they have the millions to invest in real estate. Where do you think REITs is going to be in a few years, and what would you advise a young person who's trying to get into the real estate industry?
So I think REITs have a very big future, not just in Kenya, but globally. And if you look at REIT markets from the likes of South Africa, the likes of originators of REIT in the US, REITs have continued to grow, and they've registered, for example, the US, we have over 200 REITs that are currently operational. Yes. So I believe South Africa started at the same time as Kenya. They've gone far much ahead than Kenya. So based on that, and you look at even Africa, you look at countries like, you look at Morocco, you look at Ghana, you look at Nigeria, they're all having some type of REITs or REIT structures that are currently ongoing. So I think there's a big future for it. But having said that, again, it's not to say that if you invest in REIT, you cannot invest in other types of real estate. For me, I look at it as a diversifier. I also look at it as the easiest way to start your journey in real estate, get your experience as you now accumulate more money to invest in the traditional real estate. So in terms of what's going to happen, I see more and more REITs are going to become larger, in terms of the size, the assets under management. I also think that REITs are going to become more specialized so that you'll have REITs, for example, we talked about student housing, you'll have REITs investing in office, REITs investing in retail, in hospitality, in healthcare, and so on, so that there's options. So investors can be able to then say, if I feel like I want to focus on healthcare, then there's a REIT for that. If I want to focus on student housing, there's a REIT for that. If I feel my sweet spot is in maybe residential or affordable housing, there's also a REIT for that. So I see more and more REITs becoming specialized as opposed to having generalized REITs.
You know, I didn't know that we started the same time as South Africa. They've gone really far with that industry. Why do you think Kenya is going through challenges, or what's happening?
That's an interesting question, and I think it's a very valid question. So one of the things that has happened is South Africa had REIT property structures before the REIT regulations came into being. So they would have things like property unit trusts, for example. So when the REITs regulations came into being, it was really more to regularize and now formalize the structures. But Kenya had not had any structure or type of property funds before that. So we were starting at, I would say, zero, and South Africa was starting from somewhere, just really bring them into formalization. So that's one of the reasons. But also remember, in Kenya, we've been going through a lot of education because our investors didn't know about REITs before. When I was a student, of course, I only had heard about REITs in books, in investment books, but not practically. So there's been a lot of learning, also a lot of just changing the cultures. You rightfully said, we've always just known that you own property and you have a title deed. And one of the things I've experienced is people come and ask, so which one is my unit in the property that is under the REIT? Because we are used to, you sell units and each person has unit A, unit B, unit C. But which is different from a REIT, because REIT, we own it collectively. So there's not a single unit mapped to Ruth or mapped to Tinker. So we needed that process of education, investor education, so that we are able to bring our investors on board. We are able to help them to understand the intricacies and how you invest in a REIT, how you make money in a REIT. And I think we are now at a good point where a lot of people are understanding the REIT structure. Also, there's been proof of concept. Now that we have 4 REITs, they've been reporting every year, they've been paying dividends, the properties are there, you can go and see, you can touch them, you can feel them. So it brings also investor confidence, because it is one thing to tell me about a structure and there is nothing to show for it.
Exactly.
It's another thing for someone to now say, this property is owned by REIT A, this one is owned by REIT B, and then investors are now able to look, compare, and see which one they like better. So I think another question is, where do you start?
Yeah.
So as with any investment, the first place we always say you start with the end in mind. What is it do you want to achieve as an investor? So is it that you're looking for regular income? Is it that you're looking for capital appreciation? Is it that you're looking for, what do you want the investment to do for you? So once you've decided, the next thing is, how much money do you have to invest? Is it 1,000? Is it 10,000? Is it 100,000? Then once you've decided on how much money you want to invest, the next thing is do your research. You have to look at which options are there in the market. So now, as I said, we have 4 REITs. You have to look at each of the 4 REITs. How are they performing? How are they paying dividends in terms of returns? Mostly REITs are measured in terms of dividend yield, which basically means how much money are we giving back to you as an investor as a percentage of what you invested. And then there is capital growth. If I bought a unit today at 10 shillings, at the end of the year, is it 11 bob? Is it 12 bob? And what is that growth? So we call it total return. So once you've analyzed these REITs in terms of, let's say, the sector, their performance, their returns, and their strategy, and you figure out which one is it that I feel more comfortable aligned with, the process is very simple. You just approach a broker, and we have licensed brokers. If you go to Nairobi Securities Exchange website, if you go to Capital Markets Authority's website, there's a list of licensed brokers over there. And again, here I'm talking about brokers that deal in capital markets investment, not land brokers, because I know
Yes.
that has also been one of the myths about land brokers and vis-a-vis the capital markets investment brokers.
True.
Your broker will open an account for you, or will help you open an account. But it's also simple. You can open that account online. For example, if the REITs are trading at the USP is the Unquoted Securities Exchange, then you're able to there's a link. You just open your account, put in your know your customer documents, know your PIN, your ID, and so on and so forth. Open the account, and then put in a request through your broker to buy for you. Let's say you have 10,000 shillings, and you want to buy units of a REIT which is priced at 20 shillings, for example. You just divide the 10,000 by the 20, get the number of units, put a request through your broker. The broker will do the rest of the processes until the units are accredited in your account. The account is the same as just what you have as when you're buying shares. When you want to buy maybe shares for a listed company, you have an account called a CDS account. So for it, if it's listed, you can have a CDS account. If it's not listed, for example, it's trading in the Unquoted Securities platform, you open what we call a USP account. Both of them are just to help you to trade within the NSC platform. After that, you have your units. If you want to add more, you just give another instruction. If you want to sell, give instruction to the same broker, and they're able to trade on your behalf and credit either money or units into your account, depending on which trade you are carrying out. So it's a very simple process.
Yeah, I agree. And you just start with that CDS account. As a young person, in general, if you don't have a CDS account, please get one. It is your vehicle to many investment vehicles, not just real estate. So, one question.
Agree. Yeah.
Sorry?
I'm saying totally agree.
Yes.
Yes.
One question that they've been asking me, and I know they'll keep asking me, is it safe? And if I wanted money now, or in 2 weeks, or in 3 weeks, or in a month, how hard or easy is it to liquefy?
Wow, interesting question. Is it safe? Yes, REITs are very safe investments. What do I mean by that? First of all, they are regulated investments. So that means the Capital Markets Authority is reviewing the REIT environment every day, and they are basically overseeing all the REITs operations in the country. Then we have Kenya Revenue Authority that also oversees the REITs operations from a tax perspective. And then you have the Ministry of Land. So there's so much regulation around REITs. So that, of course, builds confidence to the investor and speaks to the safety. Secondly, REITs are very transparent funds because you put in your money, they invest in real estate. You know for sure what type of real estate they invest in. I keep saying that real estate is the only investment that is real. It's tangible. You can see it, you can feel it. Then you know the REITs are backed by leases. So the leases, as an investor, you can go, you can look at the valuations, you can look at the audited accounts, you can look at the leases, and you can predict with a good level of certainty what the cash flows are going to be for the REIT, because everything is transparent. Thirdly, REITs must report at least twice a year by regulation. And those reports are published, so they're public documents, and they're also submitted to the regulator. So as an investor, you're able to read through and see exactly how they are reporting. This includes operational reports as well as finance reports. So you're able to see everything. And you, as an investor, you're also allowed to approach your REIT manager anytime during working hours to access any report that you want, to get any clarification that you want. So it makes it quite a safe investment because of all the regulation that is around it. And fourth is REITs are professionally managed. So within the REIT structure, you must have a REIT manager. You must have a REIT trustee. A trustee is the entity, and in Kenya we have corporate trustees only. So it means it's either a bank that is very well capitalized, which looks after the investor interest, and all the decisions they make are for the benefit of the investor. And also they oversee all the operations and all the service providers. Then you have a second layer of service providers. You have the registrars, you have consultants like accountants, tax, auditors, engineers, property managers. So you have a whole load of professionals looking after this property or this fund, and as an investor, you can literally sleep well, knowing that your investment is well taken care of by the relevant, professionals. You don't have to worry about was the rent paid, did the tenant run away at night, what would happen, was insurance paid. So all these are all taken care of. So with that, it gives you peace of mind as an investor that you have professionals that they know what they're doing, they experience in what they're doing, and they're looking at it from the best interest of the investor.
Sure. Okay, thank you so much. We are truly honored that you came to share your expertise with us. Thank you for gracing us with your presence. But before we let you go, we must tease you a bit with a rapid fire, and we're even going to time it, okay?
All right. Hope it's manageable.
I'm just going to ask some random questions, some real estate related, some not.
Sure, bring it on.
Hey, bring it on. Now, let's go. Rent or own?
Rent.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Hey, hapo tuko pamoja. Nairobi or Kiambu?
Nairobi, definitely.
Riverside or Westlands?
Riverside.
Should I ask you Kilimani or Lavington?
Oh, Lavington.
For sure.
Yeah.
First word that comes to mind when you hear right?
Right. Like REIT or a property?
Biggest myth about REIT?
For the rich.
One reason young Kenyans should care about REITs?
It is a good investment.
One real estate red flag that gives you instant chills?
Missing titles.
Titles, I know. That's a whole other video or session. Wow.
Yeah.
What is the most exciting thing about the future of real estate in Kenya?
I think it's expanding rapidly, very rapidly. Like I'm foreseeing having REITs of telecommunication equipment and so many other things. Right. So we are no longer just looking at the traditional real estate.
Like, get on this train, please. Last one. If you had to pitch REITs in one line or two to Gen Z, what would it be?
It's a work investment.
It's a work investment. That's a nice one. Okay, thank you so much for being with us today. And we look forward to having you again as we get more and more questions on REITs. If you're a young person in Kenya, I'm sure you have either seen, heard, or lived in Qwetu or Qejani. What if I told you they are part of a real estate investment trust, and with only 22 shillings per unit, you can be an investor in Qwetu or Qejani? You can be an investor. They have brought you closer to them through a platform called Vuka. And here to tell us more is Elvis. Hi, Elvis.
Hi, Tinka. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Why don't you start by telling us a little bit more about Vuka and its history, and a little bit more about Acorn Holdings?
Great. Those are three questions in one. So I'll start with Acorn Holdings.
Yes.
So Acorn Holdings has been in this market for over 2 decades, right? And they are the promoters of what we call the Acorn REITs in today's market. Now, the Acorn REITs, which we're familiar about, focuses on the student accommodation segment, which is specifically the brands Qwetu and Qejani. So they came into this market and launched the REITs into the market. Before that, they had actually developed the Qwetu brands. Initial Qwetu projects developed were the Qwetu in Jogoo Road, Parklands, Waraka. Then over time, in 2017, they launched REITs into the market. Now, with Acorn coming in and launching REITs into the market, it opened opportunities for other initiatives to come up in the market. One of those initiatives is Vuka. Now, Vuka in itself, the history about it is quite interesting because we started out in 2021. And the key problem we're looking to solve when we started out Vuka was a COVID-related problem. What we discovered during COVID is that a lot of people, be it young, be it the older generation, were asset rich and cash poor. A lot of people had invested or banked in a lot of their cash in idle assets, in properties, in parcels of land. When COVID came, people realized, I can't pay medical bills. which means I'm asset rich. But when it comes to cash, I'm actually poor. So a lot of people you're interacting with that you actually see, most of them who you knew, for sure this person is successful in life, nothing can go wrong in their life. Then COVID comes and you realize when it comes to a medical bill, you can't afford to actually pay for it. Now, Vuka came up to solve that need, and the need we were solving is that Kenyans love real estate, right? But the fact is that real estate has not been kind to a number of us, whereby we've lost billions of money when it comes to real estate. Hence, we started Vuka to basically enable Kenyans, give people a platform that enables you to invest in real estate that is profit-making, that is regulated, and most importantly, is professionally managed. Hence, in summary, Vuka simply enables you to own a share of Qwetu and Qejani, and you earn income in the form of dividends and capital gains.
Is there an age limit to people who can register?
There's no age limit to people who can register. You can, as long as you're an adult and a Kenyan citizen from 18 years and above, you can easily invest in Vuka, right? I think even in simpler terms, I like to tell people that imagine becoming a landlord in a business valued at 10 billion Kenyan shillings, right? And you can start from as low as 1,000 shillings, 2,500 shillings, 5,000 shillings. I think that is the opportunity that young people today need to take advantage of. Not just hearing stories and walking around streets and saying, hey, that building, it's located in Westlands. I can never afford to own it. Probably people like to say it's owned by a politician or I have to become capital rich. But we give people the opportunity to actually own prime real estate from as low as 1,000 bob or 2,500 Kenyan shillings.
Yeah, people always walk around and say the owners of Qwetu and Qejani are making so much money. Now you yourself can be a shareholder for as little as 1,000, 5,000 bob. Real estate investment trust is the way to go. Now, if I was to open an account or if I was to start, where do I start?
Well, it's very simple. To create an account in Vuka will probably take you around 5 minutes max, or even 2 minutes. All you need to do is visit our website, which is www.vuka.co.ke. You'll find a lot of good information there to enable you to understand more about the business, to enable you to understand more about the REITs as well. Then you just need to click create an account. You will put in your details, your phone number, your ID, your KRA PIN, just sort of know your customer details, and from there your account is verified and you can start investing. In fact, people can start investing in a minimum of 5 minutes and you're able to have an account and start investing through Vuka. Meaning you become a shareholder in 5 minutes. You become a shareholder in 5 minutes. That will be our tagline. Become a shareholder of Qwetu and Qejani in 5 minutes. But is it open to everyone? Students, what income bracket should I be in? Is it open to everybody? Well, Vuka in itself, or rather the REITs, is open to everyone. And I like to classify Vuka is simply a platform. The real investment vehicle you're getting into is the Acorn Student Accommodation Real Estate Investment Trust, which is the vehicle that houses the Qwetu and Qejani student residencies. Now, as much as we like to say that Vuka or other REITs is open to everyone, I like to look at it in the sense that as you start investing, right, real estate is a long-term investment. You don't put in money that you need in 2 days' time in an investment such as REITs. So you sort of have to secure yourself. You sort of have to start building a security basket. Think of things like a money market fund. I like to ask people, if 6 months down the line, if you lost your job, will you be able to survive, right? Money market funds enable you to build an emergency fund. So once you've built your emergency fund, you've secured things like medical insurance, and you can take the leap and start investing. And now you invest based on, you do your own risk analysis, you understand, okay, what are the goals I want to achieve? Then you look at the various products in the market that would suit you. So I like to say, as much as you can start, there's certain elements you need to be able to have first, which comes in your security basket. Then feel free to start investing in REITs, but keep in mind it's a long-term investment. As much as it's easy to liquidate your investments, we like to say that long-term investments shouldn't be disrupted by emergencies every 2 months or every 3 months. Now that you've mentioned that, how easy is it to liquefy once you put your money in Vuka? Well, once you put your money in Vuka, you're simply holding tradable units, right? So we've created a market where people are always buying and selling the shares amongst each other as well. So it's quite easy in the sense that you can come in, right, place a sell order, choose to sell your units, wait till the end of the month, right, and you'll be able to liquidate and get the value of your units. And from there, you simply withdraw to M-Pesa or to bank. So I like to say it is more liquid than traditional real estate. It's more liquid than buying a parcel of land and trying to sell it. a year down the line. Because again, I like to say the market is skewed in a way that when you're buying the parcel of land, there's many of you actually buying. So you assume that even when you sell, there'll be many people. When it comes to selling and realize the only buyers and the sellers have all of a sudden reduced.
Yeah, they've all of a sudden disappeared.
All of a sudden, they all disappear and you wonder what happened.
Hey, for sure. Liquefying land is not as easy as it used to be back in the day. So I'm really pushing for people to switch over to real estate investment trusts. How has the uptake been?
Well, the uptake has been quite good. I like the way you say switch over, because Vuka in itself, if you translate it from Swahili, it means crossover. So we want people to sort of cross over from the traditional mindsets of investing into basically picking up a lot more financial assets. So over time, the uptake has been quite good for the actual product. Now we are crossing over the 10,000 mark in terms of investors. Just 2023 were 3,000 investors. Now we're 10,000 plus and going strong. You're seeing more and more people taking up the product. Again, I like to say that the product itself is a very new concept in the market. REITs are a very foreign language to many people in the market today. Most people just believe if it comes to real estate, I must have this title deed. The only way to buy real estate is I give you cash, or I go pick a mortgage or a loan and actually buy it and have it. So we're also in the market not just selling to people the actual investment, but enabling people to understand that REITs is actually an investment concept that you can actually have in your portfolio. So because of that, we prioritize first educating the market rather than just pushing for uptake, because we don't want people picking up the investment, then a year down the line they're asking each other, so what are REITs? Where did I actually put my money? And it's a concept that happens a lot in Kenya, where people like to look at investments just on the return aspect as well of it only. Then you put in money, and when your money sort of disappears, you forget there was a risk that you never read through, so you end up losing money. So we like to focus on, is the market able to understand that as much as there are these assets, the owners behind those assets are actually investors such as you and myself.
Where do you educate guys on Vuka? Where can guys find you if they have questions and want to go deeper into what it's about?
That's a good question. So here's a fun fact about our website. If you to go to our website, www.vuka.co.ke, and you have to scroll down, you'll find a section that tells you speak to an advisor for free. So you can put in your details, what time you like to be called, and there's always be someone behind who's going to receive your details and contact you. In fact, I like to say that I don't have advisors, I have relationship managers, because they are there to enable to enable you to understand. They build a relationship with you, enabling you to understand that as much as it's a foreign investment, there are better ways to actually invest. And it's a free service we offer to all investors who are interested in REITs.
Roughly, I don't know if you can tell us, roughly how many people have invested in Vuka or are investing in Vuka currently?
Currently, we are crossed over the 10,000 mark. It's actually public information. We tell people, as this year we've crossed the 10,000 mark, so we have over 10,000 investors who've invested through Vuka. They own a share of Qwetu and Qejani. And the fun fact is that they're actually earning the dividends, actually earning the capital gains, right? Last year, for example, we earned a return of 7% from the investment in Vuka last year. So people are actually picking up the investment. People are not only seeing the assets on the ground, but they're actually uptaking the actual product itself as well.
So currently, what's the rate of return?
So here's an interesting fact about the rate of return, right? So because it's equities, right, whereby you're becoming a shareholder. So as much as we offer to give the market a target return of 11% per annum, it's pegged on various factors, such as the occupancy in the actual properties, such as how the properties are actually performing. So yes, you come in and buy shares, which is considered an equity investment with actual properties. We do have a property manager who professionally manages a property to generate a return. So we do offer a target return of 11% per annum over a 10-year holding period. I like to underline the fact that it's over a 10-year holding period because it's a long-term investment. Real estate, you venture into it, you don't, yes, you'll earn a return year 1, year 2, but you don't expect to make 20% or 30% in a year that we'd like to see a lot of billboards start telling you about in the market today. But bottom line, we aim to offer a target return of 11% per annum, and it is divided in the form of dividends and capital gains. So it will enable you to hedge inflation as your money increases in value year after year, and we also give you the passive income side of it, which is a rental income paid back to investors in the form of dividends.
If you were to break that down in the simplest of words, how, as a Vuka investor, am I making money?
As a Vuka investor, you make money in 2 ways, right? You make dividends, you earn dividends, right? The dividends is derived from rental income. So the properties, as you know them, they're income generating properties. So people pay rent for these properties. Now this rent is distributed back or paid back to investors in the form of dividends. So if you have, and it's proportional to the number of shares you have, right? So if you have 1,000 shares and we distribute rental income in the form of dividends, hence, let's say last year we paid out dividends of 0.66 shillings, right? That was formulated over 200 million distributable income. Right? So you earn dividends in the proportionate to how many shares you have, and that simply comes from rental income. On the flip side, because you bought shares, right? So you bought actual units. I like to call them units when it comes to REITs. The share, you bought them at a share price of, let's say last year you bought a share or a unit at 22.21 shillings. Today the share price is 22.91 shillings. So that's a sort of 4% capital gain. So you earn in those two ways. The value of your money increases as the share price increases, and this is pegged with the assets increasing in value. So as we know in real estate, you get two things. One, the asset increases in value, rather appreciates year after year. Ours does appreciate, pegged on actual market demand and market dynamics. So you earn from that angle, and because you also know the assets are income generating profits, generating assets, and people are paying rental income to it, you also earn dividends from that side.
What is the future of Vuka?
Well, the future of Vuka is also pegged on the future of REITs, right? And specifically REITs such as the Acorn Student Accommodation REIT. If you look at it before 2017, when people were investing in hostels, no one ever thought that there was such a huge opportunity, or if they thought there was such a huge opportunity, they didn't have the technical know-how to do it. So before 2017, there were no hostels. Today, we are approaching over 20,000 beds in the market, right?
Yeah, we've seen a lot of Qwetu and
Exactly,
Qejani
and they're coming up.
And you guys are near every institution.
Every institution, exactly. And what also supports that is that people are joining university each year.
Yeah, they're never going to stop.
So it's a revolving door as people have to seek dignified accommodation to support their learning, right? So you ask me about the future of REITs, it's mainly pegged on the fundamentals, right? If you look at statistics, the median age today is 19 years. So meaning we are a young population. In the urban area, we have more people renting than actually buying. Right? So there is going to be an opportunity not just for Acorn Student Accommodation REITs, but even REITs for young people. So as the REIT business grows, also Vuka is growing because it enables you, it gives you an access to this, to invest in these REITs. So the future is quite bright. It's pegged on actual fundamentals, actual market research, actual data. Most people don't know that the student population is around 570,000 students year on year. We are only targeting to offer 80,000 beds. So even if another developer was to come and develop, there's still space for all of us in the market.
Yes, there'll always be space. Student housing is a market that is picking up like crazy right now. Which brings me, now that the future of Vuka is pegged to real estate investment trust, which we agree, we're on the same page. It is growing and at a tremendous scale.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it generally. What does tomorrow look like for Qwetu and Qejani? Because right now it seems maybe to people who are not in the company or who don't know about Acorn Holdings, maybe that you guys already exist at almost every institution. But are there more to come? What's the future of the development itself?
Well, that's also a good question. As I mentioned earlier, that we are targeting to offer the market 80,000 beds, right? Currently with the Qwetu and Qejani properties we're only offering around 20,000 beds, some under development, some already operating. So the future is up to the point we're able to basically have assets on ground that address this market segment, right? Beyond there, it's more of the properties are continuously being professionally managed to generate income. If you look at the data side of it, it's students who are coming in and exiting, right? So as much as we're currently in Nairobi, we're also looking to venture into out of Nairobi, take the brand to other, also public universities across some of the different cities we've done research on. So the future for it is going to grow. Again, it's simply pegged, I like to say it's pegged on actual fundamentals. I like to say I'm not those people who will tell you the future is pegged on what I say or how I look at it. We like to look at data. Right? I like to say in real estate, there are three ways you can go about it. You can either be speculative, which is a lot of Kenyans do. You can be opportunistic. You hear of an opportunity, you go and put in your money, or you can be thematic. And this is where you base it on actual data, on actual future trends. As long as you base research, real estate investments, and basically other investments on data, right? Then the future is literally just pegged towards that. Yeah.
True. So, outside of Nairobi and Kiambu, is Qwetu and Qejani already existing, or are there plans to come up already, or it's in the books?
Well, there are certain plans to come up with properties around those areas. As I mentioned, even as we decide to develop properties from a REIT manager point of view, a lot of research goes to it. If you go to Thika Road, as you're approaching Kiambu County towards Thika, so we have a property opposite KU at the moment. We have another one in Juja, which has not been opened yet. Yes, there are plans to also explore Thika University as well. But I think the key thing is we don't just go and just put assets on the ground. It's backed by actual research. So for example, if you look at how we've developed our current assets, they're near universities, right? Especially like tier 1 universities, and also opening up to public universities. Hence you find we're able to have occupancy, right? Occupancy ranges of more than 80% on a year-to-year basis, and that's how we generate income. I think real estate, as I've said, most people just, you look at a town, you believe in this town it could work, right? So you go and develop. Our approach is a lot more data-driven, so to say. So yes, we're looking into those counties in summary. It's just that there are other fundamental views to look at before we just go and develop the asset.
So, is Qwetu and Qejani for private or public universities? What's the difference between Qwetu and Qejani?
So Qwetu and Qejani are for all students, quite literally. The only difference is that how we've developed the two assets is that Qwetu is more of a premium offering, right? And Qejani came in as an affordable offering, whereby in Qejani, yes, you do have very similar amenities to Qwetu. It's just that you find like some spaces are shared when it comes to Qejani. When it comes to Qwetu, you find you have your own individual self-contained type of room. So when we went out to the market, we realized that there are different price points for things. People are willing to pay different prices for certain services. So we wanted to offer the market, rather students in general, an opportunity to stay in dignified housing that they can actually afford, that is within sort of their limits.
So would you say one is more premium and one is more affordable?
I would say both are amazing properties. The reality is that obviously that Qwetu, yes, is more of a premium offering, and Qejani is more of an affordable offering. But in terms of the quality of life it gives students in both properties, it's quite similar.
There's a myth, or there's something going around that you can buy a hostel and rent it out. But for me, I'm pushing for real estate investment trust. First of all, is it true? Is it a myth or a fact, or is REITs the only way to invest in Qwetu, Kijani, or Acorn Holdings Limited products?
Well, that's a good question. For the Qwetu and Qejani hostels, the only way to invest is via the REIT structure, right, where you own a share. But it's on the other flip side, yes, people do take that to other properties. You go and, let's say, purchase or even rent a one-bedroom or a bed-sitter somewhere. You sort of furnish it and you want to offer it as a hostel, right? So also that's something that also goes, and some people look at it as a business, which again, there's nothing wrong with it. If you look at it as a business, you're aiming to actually make cash out of it. Other people look at it as an investment, right? But again, I like to say, over the years that Acorn has been in the business of hostels and rental properties, one thing we know for sure, it is a rental business, and it is not an easy business as much as people tend to think it's an easy business, right? Hence why we offered the retail investor, the individuals who may not have as much time to start following up with tenants, to look at the furnishing, to manage the house. You're basically able to invest to access that same market, right? From a point of view where you can actually afford to actually invest it and own a share in that market.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you a random.
That's fine.
So I'm going to give you 1 minute, and
Okay.
in this 1 minute, we'd like you to pitch Vuka to a young person, 21, 25 years of age, and sell Vuka to them. Keep in mind, they have 5 to 10,000 shillings to invest.
So they have you have 5 to 10,000 shillings extra income you're looking to invest,
Yes.
right? And I'm here to pitch to you Vuka.
You're cheating. You're
as an
thinking.
investment.
You are requesting me. Okay.
I have to think, because when it comes to investments, you aim to sort of personalize investments to people. So if you've been keen as you move around Nairobi, you've probably seen the Qwetu and Qejani student residences, right? Now, what if I told you you could invest and own a share of these properties from as little as 5,000 bob? Now, before you even start investing, we would like to have a word with you and spend a few minutes of our time with you, enabling you to understand how you can actually build a portfolio that is well diversified and also has REITs in it.
Okay, that was nice. You're definitely in marketing.
We're in the business of helping people create wealth and helping some investors create wealth through real estate the right way, in summary.
Okay, so we're going to do a quick section of rapid fire, and I'm gonna ask a mix of questions.
Okay.
All right, keep the answer as simple as possible. So, is Vuka a platform, a movement, or a vibe?
It's a movement.
How much can someone start investing with on Vuka?
From 2,500 Kenya shillings.
Would you put your own money in Vuka?
Yes, I would.
Have you?
I have put some money in Vuka, yes.
Has it made you money?
Yes, it has made me money.
Okay, what's more dangerous, FOMO or waiting too long to invest?
FOMO, waiting too long to invest. FOMO.
Is Vuka for students, hustlers, or the rich?
It's for everyone.
Rent or own?
Rent.
Worst real estate advice you've ever received?
That I'll make 20% per annum from my apartment.
Right?
Yeah.
Would you ever buy a house you haven't seen in person?
No.
Okay. What's the best age to start investing in real estate?
I will say 28.
Why 28?
Because when you look at investments, right, and as you start to invest, as I mentioned, you have to start from somewhere, right? If you look at the wealth baskets, you have to start from a security basket. So as a young person, you need to spend some time building out your security basket to start with. When I mention things like setting up an emergency fund to cover 6 months of your expenses, when I mention looking at things such as getting medical insurance, when I look at things such as finding out how you can actually improve yourself first. I like to say, as a young person, the first investment you're ever going to make is investing in yourself. Because when you invest in yourself and your skills, you have the opportunity to make more money, right? And the only way you get to invest is you start by making money, then you learn how to keep the money, then lastly you multiply the money. So that takes some time, quite honestly.
If you aren't in real estate, what would
Yeah.
you be doing?
Wow, that's an interesting question. If I wasn't in real estate, I'd actually probably be an entrepreneur.
Really?
Yeah, I'll be an entrepreneur. I'll be sort of starting businesses somewhere. I have many ideas that, again, maybe it's just not my thing, but that's what I will be doing.
Well, thank you so much. For me, if you were to ask me, the best age to start investing in real estate is now. If you have the money, get into the industry. Let's break down this myth that it's for the rich or for the old. That's what I'm here for, so that you can make real estate decisions from a more informed perspective. So keep watching, keep learning. If you have any questions, please share. Vuka is always available, as they've said, for questions. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much as well.
We look forward to having you again.
I will definitely come back.
Kenya is growing and Nairobi is expanding. And for once, you don't have to be left behind. Real Estate Investment Trust is one of the most accessible and affordable ways to invest in real estate and as an investment in general. It's about knowing where to start in order to build your wealth. So, if you want more knowledge, if you want more insights, hit that subscribe button, share this with your squad, with your people. Let them know that Real Estate Investment Trust is where to be. Thank you so much for the support. Thank you to Ruth Okal, to Vuka, to Acorn Ltd for being part of this. Stay tuned for more.